Okay,
Dirt stuff.
we're back in business for the Dirt Talk podcast, Monday edition. Hello, Alex. Welcome to the podcast studio.
Hey, Aaron. I'm just looking at my sheet here, and I wrote Dirt Talk. Like
You
it have a
did.
shared T.
You did. Well, hey, that's efficient, effective.
Yeah, no wasted letters. No wasted letters here.
It's like you're a minimum wage employee at Burger King, and they have one of those signs out front, those old school signs where you have to put the letters up,
Yeah.
and you just have one T. So it's like, well, might as well just combine the two.
Just combine them.
Yeah.
Or I don't have an L, so I had to use an upside down 7.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Or shit, we're out of E's, but I have plenty of 3s.
Yeah, we use that. It's fine. It's cool. Nobody will tell the difference. And,
yeah.
anywho.
Or sometimes things are misspelled, and you wonder, were they being funny, or do they really not know how to spell hamburger?
They weren't super sure. Anywho.
Oh, we're excited to be
Welcome to
here
Dirt
with
Talk.
everybody. We were just talking before we got started. My energy level is at least one notch higher than last week after getting my ass beat in the woods for 3 days.
Mm-hmm. I did want to ask. Well, have we talked about it? I don't think we've talked about it on the Monday podcast yet, actually, because we just did the internal podcast last week.
You're right.
So we can lay the whole thing out. We had Chemo on, and that was the lead up. Was Chemo was in town?
Yeah.
Dirt Talk alumni, Chemo Clark.
Oh.
And you were talking about, we're about to go here, but we can talk about some stuff while we're here.
Yeah. So I'm mistaken. I was thinking that super low energy podcast was our last Monday episode,
No,
but it was actually the internal podcast.
It was actually so low energy that you're like, can we just be done?
That we got no listeners. The whole company wrote to us saying, "Do I really have to listen to 30 something minutes of this?"
Hey,
or
it generated a lot of questions. So
Super.
maybe they was like, man, Aaron is really not engaged. We got to help Alex out a little bit.
So yeah, I was dragging last week. Fortunately, we got ahead of ourselves with Chemo in the studio recording that Monday episode. So I was just like, let's not record a Monday. Let's just do it next week because I don't have enough for this. So here we are. I am refreshed, relaxed, rejuvenated. I moved, which is probably the most relaxing thing you could do.
Yeah, everybody loves to move.
Last Thursday, and then I just kicked it all weekend. Just a little work here or there, made myself some breakfast. It was super sick. So to summarize, I spent 3 days in the mountains of North Carolina, in the mountains of Western North Carolina. That's where the Smokies are, Appalachians, with the 3 of 7 project with Chad Wright. If you don't know Chad Wright, look him up. Look up some of his podcasts. He has a great story. So if you can find him on someone else's podcast, highly recommend it because his story is wild. So 3 of 7, they created something called the Basic Course. The Basic Course is a 3-day course where you learn the basics of wilderness survival and working as a team. So Chemo and we showed up to this lodge in the middle of absolutely nowhere. We packed our bags and we headed out into the wilderness with 6 other people that we had just met, plus Chad and 2 other instructors. All fantastic human beings. I, going into this, had no expectations. I thought I was going to show up, learn some wilderness survival, do some backpacking, and then head on down the dusty trail and get back to my day job. But it was wildly impactful. And it was sure physically exhausting. We did some pretty hardcore backpacking on probably the gnarliest trails I've gone on. But it was more so mentally and physically exhausting. And that was what I wasn't totally prepared for and what I took most away from. So we show up and, hey, we're in our team and you need to pick your squad leaders and you need to pick your positions. And I pick navigator and we're all excited. We start going out into the woods and then they start somewhat unraveling what we're going to be doing and basically start saying, hey, just so you know, we're going to be friends with you today, but the rest of the time, we're not going to be so friendly. This is on you guys to figure out. And that's when I perk right up. I'm like, holy shit. So there's going to be a lot more here than I thought there was going to be. We get to camp that first night. We're setting up camp, and Chad calls us all over, and he calls us. He's like, "You guys look like a bunch of mashed up butthole," I think he said, which is just the funniest. I don't even know how you come up with that.
Yeah.
But that was when it started to really get serious. And he pointed out, I was setting up my camp and before helping others, and stuff was just spread out all over the place, and we weren't working as a team. And he was basically like, you guys need to get it together. And that was really sobering. So I don't know how to explain the whole weekend, but it was a lot of that, a lot of us getting stern talking tos because we weren't working as a team. We were being selfish. We weren't being effective. We weren't being deliberate. I was navigating. I got us lost twice the second day because he taught us land navigation, pointed to where we were going to on a map and said, all right, have at it. And I got us lost twice. Totally my fault. I was a total dummy about it. And then appointed as the leader, the LPO of our team, Team 18, and then had to lead the team for the last 2 days. I guess I can summarize the whole thing, but just to summarize the lessons learned. I learned, don't get sucked into stuff. When I led the team off course the second time on the second day, I was so convinced that we were on the right track, even though we weren't even on a trail, because the map said this was what we were supposed to be, that I didn't stop and reevaluate. That was a big lesson. Be deliberate. We were in the woods, and in the woods, you have to be very thoughtful and deliberate about everything you do. I think that's a great lesson because we come back, and even in my life, I'm so just going all over the place and check my phone and hang out and shoot the poop with somebody, and I'm not deliberate. I need to be thoughtful about what I do. That's a big thing. Be present. Be where your feet are. The first day, I was worrying about coming back home and all the shit I had going on, and I was stressing. I was anxious. And then the second day, I was like, hey, I'm out in the woods. I'm out here. There's only one way out. Let's focus on the damn mission. Let's be present. Let's be here. Patience. I was with 7 other people that I'd never met before, never talked to before this event, the basic course.
Mm-hmm.
And when you're leading other people that you've never led before, you have to be patient. You have to take your time, even if you can go do something. The problem was, we're backpacking as a team, man. Okay, great. I can physically do it. But if someone else is struggling, we're only going to go as quickly as them. So I better make sure they're good to go. I need to be patient with them. I need to be thoughtful of them. I need to be caring of them because I need to make sure they get out of this damn place. Because if they don't get out, I don't get out. So patience was a huge, huge factor. The details matter. The first day we left a rubber band in our camp. We heard about it. That's all it takes. And why is it so important? It just takes one lapse of integrity to erode everything. To build trust and respect, it's a lot of time and energy and consistent decisions. But it just takes one small lapse of integrity or one small lapse in judgment or one small stupid decision to completely eliminate everything you've built. And that was very sobering for me too. So there was a lot of really strong lessons that I could not have learned elsewhere because we were in the wilderness in an uncomfortable scenario with people I didn't know. Everything was stripped away, all the comforts of life, and we were just out there. So it was a fantastic experience. And if you're looking for a total game-changing type experience out in the wilderness with 3 of 7, learn more about yourself as a human being, check them out because I could not recommend it more.
That's awesome. What about this attracted you to it in the first place?
So I am young and inexperienced, which is a great asset because I don't know any better, and I'm willing to I'm just kind of bebopping around, and yeah, we're building a company, we're making the dirt world a better place. But I'm also young and inexperienced, and I am in a leadership position. I am in a position that requires experience. So I need to go put myself in situations that gives me that leadership experience I need to be worthy of the position I'm in. So I am always looking for those opportunities to push myself as a human being, to chase that discomfort, as much anxiety as it gives me beforehand, so that I can be a more capable human being, thoughtful human being, better leader, more worthy of the position I'm in business, and just be a better human overall. So that's why I did it. Was, Chemo said he applied, and I checked it out. I'm like, man, this seems awesome. This seems like something I would totally love to have as well, an experience I'd love to have. So I threw my hat in the ring, and there we were.
Isn't there like a version 2 of that course too?
Yeah. So I'm going out. It's the Alpine course.
That's right. Yeah.
Yeah. So now I'm going to the Alpine course, which is supposed to be a hell of a lot more intense, in Utah in August. I think it is end of August, early September, for 3 days up in the mountains of Utah.
How many days did it take you to say, I want to do that one now?
It was, so we ended the basic course on not a very good note. We missed a small detail that essentially it wasn't total mission failure, but it was not like we were all cheering and patting each other on the back when we ended. It was definitely a bitter taste. So from that standpoint, I want to go back to prove that, yep, I've learned my lesson and I am good to go here. And then 2, I don't really want to go do it. So that means I need to go do it. If that makes sense. I know it's going to be uncomfortable. I know it's going to suck. I know it's going to push me in just weird, wild ways that I did not foresee prior, even with this previous experience. And I need to do that. So don't think about it. Sign up. Great. Now I'm signed up. Here's my money.
Stuck.
I'm stuck here, man. I have to go do it. I want to go do it. I obviously, I know I'm making that decision, but something saying, oh, I really don't want to do it, which is, okay, good. Sign up for it. Make it happen.
I feel like I have that exact same response every time I go do a CrossFit class anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm like, I really don't want to go. All right, that means I have to go.
Well, you just have to ask, like, and for these bigger events, when's the last time you've done something scary? When's the last time you've done something that has made you a little sick to your stomach, a little anxious, a little uneasy, a little scared? And that's good. That's really good. And it's so comfortable. We get in our little cozy, comfy bubbles, and we're having fun. And, me leading this organization is, okay, cool. I'm leading an organization that I've tailored to my personality and my characteristics, but then I'm thrown into leading 7 other human beings that I've never met before. And I'm revealing that, wow, I actually totally suck as a leader. That's sobering. It's hard to leave that cozy little bubble, but it's so nice and sobering, and that's where all the growth comes from. So anybody listening to this, when's the last time you did something scary? And that doesn't mean going 3 days out into the mountains. It could be going to a CrossFit class. But make sure you're doing things that are consistently making you a little uneasy, because that's the good stuff right there.
My wife and I talked about that a good bit this past weekend. We're trying to buy a house. Little vulnerability there for the pod. And we made an offer, and we both were like, was that scary because it was a bad decision? Or was that scary because it's just a lot?
Mm-hmm.
And I think as I've grown and become more emotionally mature, and I feel like I've gotten to know myself better, I try to have that internal conversation all the time about, like you said, these hard or, quote unquote, scary things, where it's like, is that scary because my intuition is saying, do not do this thing? Or is it one of those things where I feel led to do it because it kind of hits the pit of my stomach a little bit,
Yeah.
And so I think being able to tell the difference is really, really vital. And then once you can, when it's the things I should do and it still feels scary, I think that like can tell you, all right, that's the next thing I say yes to because I don't want to say yes to it.
That's it, man.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, with the company right now, I'm doing something that's fucking terrifying.
Yeah.
It's really scary. It's a big metaphorical mountain to climb. But it's one step after another, and we're in it now. And once you get in it, hey, I'm in it now. I just need to make it happen, and it becomes a little less scary once you're in it. But man, it's tough, but so essential to chase after things that you know are not going to be a good time, are not going to be comfortable, or you're not going to be good at, because it teaches you so much and you can grow. Like growing as a human being is so beneficial overall. You can be better at work, you can be better with your kids, you can be better with your spouse, you can be better in your community, you can be a better child, you can be a better friend. There's just so much that can come of it. It's not just about business or leadership or whatever it is. It's about just growing as a human being, because everybody around you benefits.
Well said. Were you on any job sites last week?
Oh, I went to visit Hoopaw.
Oh, yeah.
Dude, there's been a lot going on. Yeah, so I went to see Hoopaw. Damn, dude.
That place is legit.
Yeah. If you need a great company to work for in Charlotte, North Carolina, check out Hoopaw. 110% based on what I saw, they would be the company I'd be working for in Charlotte, North Carolina, without a doubt.
Yeah.
They just get it. I went to their training academy. It's unbelievable. They train almost every day of the week. It was raining when I was there, so we didn't get to go to job sites. But the cool thing was their training academy was chock full. They were putting their superintendents through their onboarding. So their superintendents knew what kind of information their new hires are getting in onboarding.
That's smart.
Yeah. And they have simulators in there, and they had sandboxes in the back warehouse area for teaching how to read grade stakes and set stakes, and just an amazing business. I was amazed by how much they get it. And the craziest thing is they don't have a people problem. They don't have a recruiting problem. They don't have a retention problem. Imagine that. Shocking.
Well, is anything about that visit surprising after having gotten to hang out with those guys here at the Build It office a couple of weeks ago?
No. Yeah, they were on the podcast.
Yeah.
So if you haven't listened to the podcast with Brian and Brandon from Hoopaw, 10 out of 10 would recommend. They get it. And I saw it for myself. And it's not this small little company. And not that small companies are not important. They're obviously very important. But it's to prove that they've done it at scale. They have almost 700 people at the company. It's a big company. So pretty incredible. It was a really cool visit, and I'm excited to do more with them.
You posted a video of like a conference table that was like a shadow box.
Yeah.
Had like sand and shoot.
It was so cool.
My immediate thought was like, okay, next Build It office, gonna have one of those.
we had a 2-hour meeting at that damn table, and I'm sitting there. We can't have one of those at the Build It office because it's just going to be stupid distracting.
Like, how do I close the door on this so I can't see into it?
Is there a sheet of plywood somewhere that we can just lay on top of this table so we can actually focus?
Yeah.
I just want to look at it the whole time.
That was so cool.
And then the funny thing is, you walk in, and the construction guys, they're quick to point out what's inaccurate about the little diorama, and it's funny little things to kind of prove I know how to build a road.
Mm-hmm.
That grade is clearly higher than the asphalt they're laying, so that's wrong. And
we're like, well, an artist made it. So.
Yeah, it's funny that you sit there and start pointing out what's wrong with it, even though why don't I just enjoy how clever this is in the first place?
Mm-hmm.
But you got to make sure it is spot on, because people know you're not fooling anybody.
I had another question about that trip. You had posted a video of, or maybe it was just on your stories. It was like some kind of camera scan thing that was like, it was on a table, kind of like a cylinder, and it was like turning. And
Yeah.
What was that?
So that was a type of scanner they used to do their as-builts. So an as-built is, say you go build a pond, you basically need to go prove that you built that pond correctly per the elevation plans, all of that jazz. So you do an as-built. Basically, you go out there old school with a grade rod and a GPS unit on the grade rod, and you go take your points across that pond, and you go prove that, yeah, hey, this is at the proper elevation. We built what we said we were going to build. And there's a few different reasons for as-builts, but that is the very surface level of an as-built. That, instead of having to go out there with a grade rod, you can just pull it up on a side-by-side, or I guess they had a boat too. I don't know if they put it on a boat, or walk around with it, and it just, or set it up. You don't walk around with it, but you put it on a side-by-side, and then it can scan the whole pond, and then you can line that up with a reference point to then basically certify that that's spot on, and it's more accurate than a GPS rover because you're not dealing with the tolerance on a GPS unit, because it can be a little off. This, because you're lining it up with a known point of reference, it's spot on.
That's really cool.
That's what that was.
Right on. Man, I feel like for not seeing a job site, there was like a lot of cool stuff to see on that one.
Dude, the whole thing was cool.
Yeah. Cool dudes.
And we don't have anything commercially going with them right now. No. We're hopefully working with them soon.
Sure.
I'm not.
They were on the podcast, and they were great here, and you got to go out there and see what they're doing.
This is not a paid advertisement. No. They just know what the hell is going on, and I have a ton of respect for what they got going.
Yep. Sick.
Yeah.
Cool. We've got a couple questions from the Dirt Talk listeners.
Cool.
As always, I'm very thankful for these. All right. First question is from Dennis. He says, can you lay out once and for all in the clear what the difference between cement and concrete is, and why pouring cement is wrong?
This is funny too, because I was in Target this weekend. I hate Target. I go there whenever I move, because it's just a good place to go.
You can get some cheap home goods that look okay.
Yeah, I need a toothbrush stand, or some kitchen towels and some dish soap. Just stupid stuff like that. Well, I'll go to Target. I hate Target. It's a terrible place.
Yeah.
But I go into Target, and of course, I get all of my home goods. I get my whatever I need, and of course, I'm walking past the Lego aisle, so
might as well check it out,
dude. I can't just walk past the I gotta go check it out, because talk about childhood memories. And I remember the funny thing about it was, as a kid, you'd be looking at the Legos and it'd be like $159.99. And it was this badass Star Wars ship of some sort. And you'd be sitting there like, $159. That's a ridiculous amount of money.
How could anyone get that?
And I am never going to have something that maybe Christmas.
Yeah.
Maybe that's something you ask Santa for, but there is no way in hell. And I'm sitting there as an adult, like, $159
Not
for
bad.
that. That's pretty cool. But anyway, that aside. So I'm perusing the Lego aisle. Of course, I start with the Star Wars, because there is some good looking Star Wars Legos out there. And then I turn to the right to the Lego City section, and I go through firefighters, and hospital, and okay, I want to get to the construction. And I notice there is a Lego cement mixer. Total disappointment. And why is this disappointing? Well,
back to the question.
Concrete is like baking a cake. So when you bake a cake, what do you have? What do you have to bake a cake? You have some flour, right? There's some water there. What else is there?
Eggs.
Some eggs? Okay, great. So you have some eggs, you have some flour, you have some water. And you mix the ingredients together, you put it in the oven, voila, you get your cake, right? And
in theory, that was a bad cake, but yes, you made a cake.
Yeah. There's you can doll up your cake here or there, but for the purposes of this discussion, concrete is the same way. you have some primary ingredients. You have cement, which is essentially the glue. You have water, and you have aggregate, crushed rock, sand, whatever it may be. You mix them together, you get concrete. So cement is an ingredient to concrete, but it's not. I'm not going to call my cake, my cake pan, oh, this is a flour pan. No, it's a cake pan. It's not a flour pan. That's an ingredient in a cake, you dummy. So it's not a cement truck. It's a concrete truck that carries concrete. It doesn't carry just cement. There's concrete in there. You see the problem?
Yes.
So, but this is where the trickery comes in.
Got it.
So you can have a cement truck.
This is the problem, however.
Because you need to get the cement to a batch plant. So you have a bulk truck that carries powdered cement to the batch plant, which then mixes the cement with the water, with the aggregate, puts it into a concrete truck. The concrete truck stirs it all together while it's driving down the road. It drops it off. Lower my chair. It drops it off wherever the concrete's being poured.
So if I go over to Home Depot and get a couple bags of Quikrete that has the non-water ingredients in it ready to become concrete.
Yeah, so Quikrete is cement and aggregate.
Got it.
You add water, voila, you get concrete.
And just having cement does nothing. Like, I mean, if you just water and cement, is that anything? Or is that just powder and water that dries?
So it's like a bunch of glue. It'll do something, and there's uses for just cement. But to create any kind of structure, you need aggregate.
Got it. Okay.
Aggregate's what creates the structure. So
then it's kind of silly for how much we as a society, whatever, the general usage. It is kind of silly how much we talk about cement versus concrete, because cement does very little compared to like we mean concrete.
Yeah, that's where if I were the United States Concrete Association, that would be, okay, boys, here's problem number one. We need to educate the public on it's concrete, not cement. Let's create a campaign.
Yep.
And then roll it out, because without that, we're not getting the basics, and without the basics, not a whole lot matters.
It's a brand awareness issue, storytelling, man.
The United States concrete industry has a massive branding problem.
After we make the dirt world a better place, we're only talking concrete.
Yeah, dude, talk about a branding problem, man. So that is your A to Z example, or A to Z explanation as far as what concrete is and why it's different than cement.
Thank you. Well, Dennis, there you go. Appreciate the question, my man. All right, next question. From a Dirt Talk alum, Mr. Dylan Taylor.
Super.
Extreme Ownership, I know, is one book you highly recommend to become a better leader. Do you have any other books you'd recommend reading?
So let me think. Books that have informed BuildWitt. I'm coming at this from my perspective. I love Everybody Matters. Fantastic book. And that is by Bob Chapman.
Yep.
The Uncontainable by Kip Tindall was one that really helped out the business. The Dichotomy of Leadership, again by Jocko. If you've read Extreme Ownership, I would just go right over to the Dichotomy of Leadership. They're very complementary. It's fantastic. His Leadership Strategies and Tactics is also a fantastic book. Those three, game changers. No Rules by Reed Hastings was a really, really good one. Let My People Go Surfing by Yvon Chouinard. Conscious Capitalism by John Mackey. There's plenty. We actually should make a page on the website. What's Aaron reading right now? Because I feel like people ask me all the time.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know why everybody's so concerned about what I'm reading, but it's like, well, here's the book I'm reading right now. Feel free. Right now, everybody, what's Aaron reading today? Alex, can you give me an intro?
Hey, Aaron, what you reading today?
Can we put some music in there too? And now for a new segment.
What's Aaron reading? Do-do-do-do, ba-da-ba, do-do-do-do, da-da-da. You can cut out the music, play real music. Aaron, what are you reading today?
Well, Alex, let me tell you, I am reading The Effective Executive by Peter Drucker.
Oh, sick. That's a good one.
It's classic.
I mean, I've never read it, but
It's a good one. So
cool.
thanks for tuning in to our new segment, everybody.
Yeah, great segment, everybody.
But
And we'll be
yes.
right back after this message from our sponsors.
Well, so if you've read Extreme Ownership, I would just go right into the dichotomy of leadership without a doubt. And also Everybody Matters. So if I would do 2, Extreme Ownership, we give everybody 2 books. Extreme Ownership, Everybody Matters. And then I would tack on Dichotomy of Leadership to that as well. If you do those, that's a great place to start. You're gonna get learned.
You're gonna get you some learning in there.
But we'll explore on the website, putting on somewhere on the website whatever the hell I'm reading or what I've read this year, because people seem to ask me a lot. What are you reading right now?
I think we could definitely do that and not be like here's what's current, because that's like, another thing to update, but just like add books to a list,
Yeah, exactly.
Solid.
Yeah.
In addition to reading books, you can also learn about leadership via the BuildWit app, available on the App Store. BuildWit Leaders.
Well done.
A lot of good content for that.
Yeah, so you can go read Extreme Ownership, and then you can go watch Jocko talk for 4 hours about all of the principles he illustrates in that book on BuildWit Leaders on the BuildWit app. Totally for free, just saying.
Just for you. Awesome. Well, thanks for the question, Dylan. I really appreciate it. I think that is a Dirt Talk Monday edition.
Cool.
My man.
Well, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in and listening to the Dirt Talk podcast. You can now listen to the Dirt Talk podcast on the BuildWit app, on the App Store. Go download it. Go give it a shot. We're really excited about it and would love for you to interact with us there. If you have questions, send them to dirttalk@buildwit.com. Alex will get them. Alex will take them from his computer machine, put them onto a piece of paper like he has right here. Look at that. And then he will come into our studio, read them on the microphone, and I will answer them to get you the best information possible. And best in quotes, because it's probably not the best information. I was actually
it's your best information.
Not to undo our wrap up here, but I was actually informed that our discussion on why people in the field need to be paid hourly and not salary was completely incorrect.
Meant to say something
because of some labor laws.
Do you want me to ask about it so you can jump into it?
Well, I didn't clarify. So I can't speak any more intelligently on the subject
than I
already did
Got
before.
it, okay.
So I would just say more wrong stuff about it. I just wanted to say, apparently we were totally wrong about the whole, I guess you could just pay everybody salary out in the field, because that's, for whatever reason, not legal.
Okay. But still, that is also adds more information to that topic. I think there's nothing wrong.
Yeah. And it's not the first time. There's been a few instances where I've been told by our growing HR team at this company that, hey, that's actually illegal. Oh, Jack, noted.
Got it. Okay, we will not do that ever again.
Well, yep. No, I didn't know it was illegal, I promise.
Yeah. It came from a good place.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. But okay, with that, thanks for tuning in, everybody. We'll see you on the next episode. Stay dirty.